Let's see, let's see. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
I can hear you now.
There we go. There we go. I said,
Okay.
I was just saying, they ruined the moment for us, but I appreciate you having me on here. I really look forward to sharing any kind of knowledge and experience that I have,
Yeah.
between selling myself back in the day and even now getting back into it and just some of the agents that we have both at the brokerage and our team. So I appreciate you and I really appreciate you and your team, Michael, for the escrows. We use you exclusively
Yeah.
because we know that you take care of us. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And before we kind of get started in open houses, can you share just a little bit about your journey as a realtor, and then also, on the marketing promotion that we sent out? I wanted to share with everybody that you were in the military, you come with your Army vet, you come with that military background, and I want to know like what shaped you from that experience that you had, and what type of approach that it translates into real estate.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think we get agents from all walks of life. We have people who were labor workers, laying down tile, to lash technicians, bartenders, to corporate executives that come in with this business transition. So for me, it was the military. I joined when I was 17, served for 8 years, three combat tours. And to be honest with you, it was a really tough adjustment from military life to
Mhm.
civilian life, let alone getting into sales, where it's very much about the way that you communicate with people. We're always taught people want to work with someone they feel like they know, like, and trust. So I
Yeah.
hadn't had those kinds of communication skills, but I think that the industry kind of helped me transition to that. Forces you, right? But the
Yeah.
military, more or less, I think helped with what's required, like to get that first deal or first few deals
Hmm.
in real estate. And it's just an unreal amount of effort, much more effort than it would take once you get started and you get things going. So it's that initial ramp up. I think that if it weren't for the military of like having the mentality of like, listen, one way or another, I'm gonna make this work. Yeah, I don't know what it would look like, but it transitioned very well, then now, especially with the team and teaching and things like that, the discipline helps with the structure. The structure and discipline definitely helps with managing the day for sure.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
What values can you share with everyone real quick that you think you took away most from military, not just for real estate in general, but I mean you're a father of many. I don't remember how
Yeah.
many kids you
That's
have, but you
six.
have six
That's
kids,
okay. I forget too. I
probably and
got six
counting, right?
too. Six kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But yeah, what values can you share that have helped you grow your business, not just on the real estate side, but just as an entrepreneur, that mindset shift for you?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest values just comes down to this is really difficult, but I think environment has to do with, and I know that's not necessarily a value, but then again
Yeah.
it kind of is, because the way I looked at it is when I first got in like it's the military, but when I first got my license, you don't know what you don't know, right? And I think one of the great things that was taught to me by my dad was like, look, listen, if the environment isn't serving you, then it's your obligation to go and find the environment to go and thrive.
Yeah.
And that was something that I took. I didn't get to AZ and Associates till I was maybe my fourth year in, but I was 9 months to yeah, about a year doing commercial real estate and investment real estate. And then I did 3 years with Keller Williams. Not that there's anything wrong with it, and it served for those 3 years.
Right.
But I knew that I needed something different, and that's where AZ and Associates was more of for me, that was a place that fit. So for you guys, if I would say if you're not being served uh, where you feel like you can grow the most, I would say explore some options. But if you know deep down inside that you're really not doing what you're supposed to be doing, like what's required, like the bare minimum, don't move until you've done those things, right?
Right.
Um, so again, I know that's not necessarily core value, and maybe the core value is having that what's the ability to kind of uh, look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, am I doing everything right, and am I being served here? I think that's one of the biggest things that anyone can take.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
just a quick thought that just came about since we're talking about value or environment. I was listening to a podcast the other day and they're talking about the five F's in life for to find your purpose: family, faith, fitness, finance. And the fifth
Right.
one, it was four, but the fifth one I believe is fellowship, and that aligns perfectly
Yeah.
in
Oh
community
yeah.
environment. And that's why like I love being a part of like the culture that we have at Landmark, because that's exactly you kind of nailed it on the head. Like you got to find your people,
Yep.
people that push you and drive you. Like yesterday, our team did cold plunges. Like
Oh wow.
what
Yeah.
sales team out there in
Yeah.
the title
Yeah.
space are doing cold plunging, right?
Right. Right.
40, 30
Exactly.
degrees. And so
Yep.
it's an honor. But
Okay.
with that being said, let's jump right in. I don't want to lose anybody.
Go it. Let's do it.
So when it comes to open houses, like what role did they play earlier on in your career?
Oh gosh.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, and like how has it evolved in your time in real
Oh
estate?
man. Yeah. So open houses, okay, to give you some background, I came over here in Arizona. So for those of you guys, I don't know, I see that there's 15 participants on here. Right in the chat, like how many of you guys are not from Arizona? That's me. Okay. I'm originally from New York, New York City. I'm originally from Brooklyn. And then I joined the Army um, out of San Diego, believe it or not, out of San Diego. And then I was in the military from 17 to 25. When I got out, I immediately got my license. So I didn't know. I see Yelena there. Okay, I see you're not from there. It'd be great to hear, where you guys are from. I'm originally again from Brooklyn, New York. The big question for all realtors, whether you're new or a veteran, is where do I get leads, right? Number one source of leads, of high quality leads, are sphere of influence. I was like, well, I didn't have a sphere of influence. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok didn't exist at all back then. All of those applications didn't exist back then. So I was like, how do I get leads? And there was really only two ways: cold calling and open houses, and door knocking. And I did all three of them, right? Every single day. I mean, I was at the office at 7:30, just trying to figure it out. So if you're in that space where you're like trying to figure out where to get these leads, open houses had the highest conversion transaction per lead. Meaning, if 10 people came into an open house, one of those people were going to be a transaction, right? And
Right.
and it was maybe like 1 in 8 actually, maybe a little bit less than that over time. Okay,
Yeah, especially
I was
with the purchase price back then, right? It was
oh
definitely
yeah.
a different ball game.
So average purchase price. Okay, I lived in North Phoenix, Norterra at the time. Average purchase price, okay, was 211. Okay, my average sales price was about 340. Okay, and the reason why is because when you do open houses, what most people consider the absolute worst leads are nosy neighbors. Those were my best leads because
Mhm.
8 months down the line, they ended up wanting to sell their house and then buy. So I found that yes, cold calling, which was very different back then than it is now. Yes, cold calling, I did get some results with it, but the labor to result ratio, I could just sit at an open house, and that's what I would do. I would sit at open houses 5, sometimes even six days a week. I had nothing else better to do. So that's kind of my approach with open houses. It's been where I was very listing heavy, and the majority of my buyers actually came from my sellers or an open house on there.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's great
Yep.
feedback. Um, I feel like a lot of agents think that maybe open houses are just like
Hmm.
very generic. It's just to show
Yeah.
property. Nowadays, there's a lot of social media involved with
Yeah.
it, but how, like mentally and strategically, like
Oh man.
how do you view the purpose when you do an open house, whether it's you or your team members?
Right. That's such a great question that you said mentally because if you guys know me and you guys heard me tell my story about open houses, there's a moment in time where I was doing open houses, cold calling, door knock, everything for months and zero results, right? Or so I thought. I'm new. I don't know what to expect. And I just remember I was so frustrated. I was like, why did I get out of the army? I was doing really well and I was high ranking already. And I just remember just breaking down in my little blue Ford Ranger pickup truck and just punching the steering wheel. And I remember that moment in time, it really broke me down because open houses do so much more than just give you leads. It builds you as a professional, okay, a lot more because you're getting the skill sets of how to interact with people, how to communicate with them, how to shake their hand, how to take them around, how to what's called assess your authority on them so that they see that you're the authoritative figure when it comes to real estate, right? So I believe this, that almost single-handedly, the skill sets that I bought or the skill sets that I learned, to communicate with people about real estate came from open houses. So that's something that I tell all the new agents right now. Okay, and here's the thing: is if you don't have 2 to 3 escrows a month, like closings per month or more, then you should be hitting open houses. Okay. There's open houses and there's social media. And I used to be against social media in the sense of like, well, open houses will trump it, every time. But social media has also changed a bit in the years, and ads they just make so much more sense. So I think that they're still very competitive.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 closings a month at a minimum, then open houses all day long. I mean, it's just and you know this, Michael. I've tested it out, even just
Right.
recently to see if it's different than how it was whenever I did it. It's actually better and easier. So that's something that I really promote to my agents on the team, new agents alike. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is like the number one mistake that you see realtors make when they do the open houses?
You know, that's hard to say because I'll tell you what the number one mistake is based off of how I do it, and that's balloons. Okay, having balloons. Now, most people don't know to put certain types of balloons, and we'll get into the details of how I do it. Um, but balloons are a really big thing. But if it were somebody who were from another brokerage and you were maybe trying to figure out how to do open houses on your own, one thing I did was I would constantly Google. I would find out who's the top agent in the state, in California, in Texas. I literally drove to California to go meet this couple, lady and husband and wife team, and the amount of transactions they did purely from open houses was unreal. So I learned a bit from them. Same thing in Texas. I went to an event in Texas and asked this other guy. So I kind of pick and choose. But if you were to go off of what people are telling you and Google, the biggest mistake is not having at least a few more signs on a main road.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, right? Because remember, you're getting organic traffic. You're trying to convince people to make a turn either right or left in order to come to something that an event, right? But if it's uneventful, if your
Yeah.
signs look uneventful, then there's no reason for them to go and make a turn.
I think agents don't think that it's organic because it's people that they don't know. But realistically, like you're putting sweat equity into putting those
Yeah.
signs out,
Oh yeah.
mapping out, strategically where everything is, and it does really make a difference. What's funny is Isaiah did a open house class a few weeks back, and he talked
Yep.
about the
Yep.
balloons. And this past
Yep.
weekend, I saw balloons. It was like an agent that I don't know who it was, but it
Yeah.
caught
Yeah.
my attention. I'm like,
Yep.
dang, he was right.
Yep. Yep. It
He was
does. It
right.
does. Yep, it
Um,
absolutely does. As a matter
yeah,
of fact, whenever I see balloons, whether it's from our broker, it's usually from our brokerage, but if I see balloons or not, I always try to go in there and talk to the agent and stuff like that and see where they're
Yeah,
from and
that's
all that.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I like it.
So this is kind of like, since we're already talking about it, like let's talk about preparation a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I think we already talked on the mental side. Let's talk about strategy and
Hmm.
logistically, because obviously the details really do matter for open houses.
Absolutely. Yep.
Unfortunately, I talk to agents all the time that just do them to do them, but the
Hmm.
turnout isn't as great, of course, because there is no plan. And so let's
Right.
talk about the plan. Um, I'm gonna give you host,
Right.
let's see, make host. So you should be able to share your screen.
All
Um,
right.
so let's talk about like location. Like, what do you recommend as far as open house wise? Like, where should we be when we do open houses? There's houses all over the valley, but what do you recommend? What's been the best results for you?
Super, super important question. Location is most important. Now, I see everyone over here. I see Yelena, you're from New York. I see Keith from Long Island and Beth from Michigan. Awesome. That must mean that all of you guys are hard workers. That's typically the thing there. So I'm watching all your guys' Q&As over here. If you guys have any questions, put them on there. Location is one of the most important, if not the most important. Here's the thing. I understand some of you may live outside of the 101 loop. Can I share my screen here?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
You have
okay,
access.
I'm gonna show you guys because I wanna show um I want to show you guys kind of what this looks like. Can you see my screen?
Yep, you're good to go, bro.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let me pull out my Soho here. And it's funny, I had this open. No, it's closed. Because I want to show you what you want to do is you want to stay inside the 101, right? So let's take a look at this slide here. Now, you see to my left, um, actually, you won't be able to see. This is a main road. Okay. Okay. So you want to stay in above the one, the 10. Okay. So there's the 10, there's the freeway, the 10. You want to stay north of that. And you want to stay within the 101. Okay. Does anyone live on the East Valley? Does anyone live basically Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, even Tempe? Does anyone live over there in that area? Anyone?
I definitely know we have a few people on this call that do.
Okay, so now listen, if you live in the East Valley, okay, Denise, okay, if you live in the East Valley, you want to stay inside the 202, okay, over there. You don't want to go too far out. Does anyone know why? Does anyone know why you want to stay there? I'm gonna see if I can do this here. Anyone know why? Anyone? 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 Let me see
I'm
if I
gonna
can
take a
see here.
guess.
Why is
It's because
that?
of work.
Work. Yep, exactly. So most people work. Most people work. If you take a look at this map here, okay, you take a look at this map, you see all this. If you live right over here in Goodyear, Surprise, Avondale, Buckeye, those kinds of things, that's fine. But even if it's a beautiful property, you don't want to be over there because most people work and live over here. So there's far more traffic. It's more beneficial for you to find a property inside of this area to do an open house, okay? Secondly, is if you live on the East Valley, you definitely want to stay within this 202 loop. Okay. Does everyone understand that? Everyone understand that? Because during the day, people are working, they're going back and forth. So you're going to have way more foot traffic. You have people that get off, that have lunch at noon. Some people have it at 11. Then you have this crowd, 3 o'clock, that get off at 3, that get off at 4, that get off at 5. So I typically do my open houses till about 5:15 because by the time they drive back to their house or on their way, they can see the signs. Okay, so if I don't have anyone within those first 15 minutes, I know that I can cancel it. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's in location, but if you take a look at this right here, what you want to do is off of a main road, you want to have about 3 turns. Okay, so if you take a look here,
That's exactly what it looks like.
oh, oh, that's a different slide there. So 75th, you want to find a main road, right? It could be 75th, it can be Thunderbird, it could be Scottsdale Road, it could be 7th Street, whatever it is, one of those main roads. Okay, you want to have 3 turns. One, right here, Grover's, two, 73rd, three, Libby. Does that make sense? This right here is how I prepare. I have 4 signs on one side, 3 signs on this side. Okay, I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, Michael, but
They're good.
that's essentially the location. Yeah, that's the location, both geographically, but also where you want to have it on the road. Does everyone understand that? Does anyone have any questions on that?
And I'm sure you're going to get into this, but um, there's there's 4 signs on one side and 3 on the other. What's the purpose behind that?
The purpose of that? Okay, yes, because need to stay closer to highway. That's another one, a good one, Yelena. Keith, I know you're in the East Valley. Okay, so yeah, so look, check this out here. So I'm gonna pull this up. Okay, you see that the first turn is going to be here on Grover's. Okay, Michael just asked why 4 on one side, why 3. Okay, to be honest, I only had this many signs, so that's why I put that. But if I were, I would normally put 4 or at a minimum 3 on each side, but 4 on each side. Now I'm going to show you this. If someone is traveling up north, right here, right, you guys see this. If they're traveling up north, okay, there it's a quick transition to turn right on Grover's. However, if someone is traveling south on 75th, they have to be able to move from this lane to the other lane closer to turn. So what I do is I put more signs on this side, okay? And I also spread them out about 20 paces each. So that's 20 steps between each sign. Right here, sign on the turn, 20 steps, sign, 20 steps, sign, 20 steps, sign. Over here, not so much because they don't need as much time to go and make a decision to go and turn over. So maybe, 10 to 15 paces between signs. And these
Mhm.
right here, these signs are just simple. They're just on the turn so they know where to go. Does that make sense? Everyone got that? All
Since
right, good, good.
since we're on the topic of signs real quick, I know you already brought up the balloons, but let's talk about um, I get this question a lot, and we've helped agents not only design open house signs, but
Yep.
also help them outsource to good companies that can help them, print their own open house signs. What do you
Yeah.
think of that? Because obviously it's investment. I know
Oh,
eventually
yeah.
some agents want to do that, but I remember you telling me it's not really necessary. And
Yeah.
why do you think that is
So the investment in the signs,
in the
or
signs? Because you
yeah,
can
like
go, you
having
said,
them like super fancy.
yeah, 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 exactly.
Okay, great question. Okay, okay, I've seen some beautiful signs out there. Okay, that look really nice, really unique, and I get it. Every single one of us want to have like a sense of individuality, branding, a product, that represents us. But one mistake that I see a lot of agents do is that they look for, um, what is it called? More to try to leverage or efficiency as opposed to effectiveness. And what I mean by that is you want it to be effective, and I understand we want it to make it look nice and to look like our branding. But one thing that I love is I actually love the red signs, the big red signs that you can buy at the association. Michael, you made these signs for us. I like this as well. I think you also had the vendor that does this as well. If you take a
Yeah,
look at this, it's very plain, but it's very clear on where to turn. And a lot of times I see signs that the arrow is like super thin or it's not the main thing. The main thing that should catch your attention on the sign is the arrow. Okay, because it could be for anything. People just, it could be for a yard sale or whatever. People are kind of nosy, and that's
Right.
really what the kind of the people that we want to get there. But open house and a simple sign, that's really the biggest, or a simple arrow. That's the biggest thing on there. I wouldn't get too cute with it. Yeah. Aesthetic
Um,
versus effective. I like that, Nikki.
yeah, exactly. Someone asked, yeah, so I did, so Landmark has a graphic design team. There are times where we'll have our team design them. I personally design these signs, and then who we get them printed through. There's a few vendors that we use. Landmark uses Prime Source, but the open house signs are kind of they're like big cardboard signs, and I just not a huge fan. So we go through a different vendor called Concepto. But that vendor does charge a bit more. As you can see, the sign's definitely more on the premium side. It's heavy duty. It's
Yeah,
not
they're
going to fly
solid.
anywhere. So that's where a lot of our partners get their signs, open house signs printed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
they're worth it. I have the red ones as well. I love the way the red ones look.
yep,
But if
the
you see,
frame is
if
from
you go on my,
Concepto, Yelena.
yeah, and sometimes they like, well, these ones from Concepto, they're solid when the wind hits, right? But
Right.
like if you go to the association, if you get those, even though I like them, the issue that we run into sometimes is that they fall over when it gets a little windy. But these here are solid, yeah, and they're easy to put in your car. They don't take up too much space.
So before we go like inside the house. Okay, so we're still outside. We're still talking about location, signs. Let's talk about like some more of the props. So you talked about balloons. I'm
Hmm.
sure there's a few more props that you recommend to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that kind of just help the essence and the ambiance
yes,
of people
yes.
coming in. What are some of the things that you recommend?
Yeah, listen, I do balloons. You can see here they're non-helium, really quick. Only blow them up to about 70% so they don't pop in the sun. Okay, and you'll see this is kind of what I have here. Okay, then we'll go up to the next one. But one thing I use also is a balloon buddy. Okay, so let me exit out of here. A balloon buddy that looks like this. It's just a balloon filler. That's all that it does. It fills up balloons. Okay, fill them up like that. And if you notice here, I have a Bluetooth speaker, and just like what Michael said, okay, you want an open house to have some ambiance, right? Meaning, when you go shopping, for clothes and everything, they don't have it completely silent. When you go eat at a restaurant, you know, yeah, it's partly the food. I mean, you can have phenomenal food, but if the place looks like, a middle school cafeteria, you're not going to want to go there, again. So they create ambiance, both the way that it looks aesthetically, but also the way you feel when walking into it. So I always bring a Bluetooth speaker to kind of just break up the silence, and it's just easier for them to want to communicate with you. Okay, so great point. You'll see right here, I've got a bag to hold these in, otherwise it's crazy in there. I've got a Bluetooth speaker, I've got my signs, and what you can't see is little binder clips. Okay, those little black binder clips, that's how I clip on the balloons to the signs.
Awesome, awesome. Any questions before we move on? All right.
I've got some
So
cool things here
what
with doing balloons for the opener. There we go. That was mine.
what was that? Oh, that was a video. I thought that was you talking. That's funny.
No, no, no.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about so the purpose around an open house is obviously you're trying to capture leads. What type of leads are you looking for?
Hmm.
Let's be really clear on that because I think some people
Yes.
think it's just they're just looking for buyers walking in, but the
Oh, yeah.
biggest opportunity is getting listings, right?
Listings. That's really where it's at. People ask me, how do you market for listings right now? Now, I'll tell you this. This is a whole different class of social media. It's five. I don't remember. I think it's 5 to 7 times more harder and more expensive to get listing leads through social media than it is uh, buyers. Okay.
Yeah.
The most effective way, historically, there's never really been anything better to get listings than open houses consistently. Okay, that's the caveat, is to do open houses consistently. So when you do open houses, you have to make sure that you're doing them in a neighborhood consistently. Why? Because there's a lot of nosy people, nosy neighbors. I can't tell you how many times, guys, I've seen the same people come to different open houses in a neighborhood that I'm doing, right? Or a general vicinity. And some of these people have obviously become some of my clients. Some of them have become friends that referred clients actually, but never did business. If you want listings, open houses is where it's at. And guess who are the people who give listings? Guess who they are? Anyone? Let's take a guess. What kind of people that come in do you think give
Ooh,
you?
give him some time to answer. Someone's gonna answer, but Dora, so you don't
Or
place
so you don't
signs
place
on
signs.
major cross streets.
We do, yeah. So, oh, you mean like on a major cross street? So yes and no. If you're on, and I know what you're saying. Like if you're on two major cross streets, like if you're on 75th and Thunderbird,
Like where
yes.
the
So like
intersection is, I'm assuming.
right. So yes, I do put them on major cross streets only when I can.
Yeah.
Okay, so but I try not to put too many. It's off of the main. What's going to be the easiest for people to turn, right? And that's essentially how I do it. Now, if I'm on like Camelback and Scottsdale, right? Something like that, I'm putting signs, as many signs that I can, which it'll probably be only maybe 4 to 6 more signs than usual on
Yeah,
it.
and it
Does
obviously is
that answer your
determined by
question,
how many
Dora?
signs you have too, right? How much you have to work with.
Usually 12, and I don't usually use all of them, but usually
Yeah.
12 is more than enough for a 3 turns. But I can't see putting more than like 16 to 18 on a sign on an open house. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Dora? All right. All right. We didn't have anyone answer over here.
I know.
So I'm gonna tell that's all right. Did everyone have their coffee? You guys want some?
Yeah.
That's okay. All right, check this out. Okay. The number one seller lead that you're gonna get, okay, in an open house is a nosy neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot tell you like how many agents are like, the only people that came in were neighbors. Oh, they were just being nosy. And I said, did you get their number? Because those are one of the hottest leads that you can go and get. And they're not going to be an immediate, they're not going to be an immediate transaction. Okay,
Right.
what's that domino effect? There's the butterfly effect. Okay, if you guys are familiar with the butterfly effect, anytime, and look this up, this is proof positive. Anytime a listing sells within that neighborhood, typically within that street, within the next 3 to 8 months, another listing comes up. Okay. 3 to 8 months. If it's a slow place, it's going to be around 8 months. Okay. Like where there's not a lot of transactions. But if there's a high transactional place, then yeah, it's going to be within 3 to 6 months. And guess who they are? More than likely, they went through that open house. Okay. And I want to share something with you guys. Okay. If there's something that you guys can remember, no one walks into an open house without at least having thought or thinking currently of selling and buying or buying, whatever it is. No
Right.
one does that. No one is going to waste their time to stop their car, get out of a car, walk into a house, knowing that there's an agent over there that's going to talk to them, okay, and 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 not have the thought of them wanting to buy. If it's a first-time home buyer, they just probably think that they can't qualify. If it's a seller, they're like, well, if this house sells, I know I can sell mine for more. Or if this house sells, I know their house is nicer than mine, but I know I can get around there. Then what would I do next? Okay, so anyone that walks into an open house, treat them as gold, okay, because that's really what it is. And the only thing, here's another thing, your only job is to get their number. Build rapport and get their number. If you talk about real estate and they talk about selling and things like that, perfect. But the only job is to get their number and build rapport.
So I'm just gonna like change up a question real quick since we're talking about it. So let's just say I'm a seller. I walk into the house and you're doing the open house. Like, what does that look like? So I'm walking in and you greet me,
Mhm.
and then
Okay, so my structure, like what I do,
yeah.
okay, like some of the questions, right, that I would
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
them. Okay,
So like you don't know that I'm a seller or that I'm a
okay,
nosy neighbor, right? But let's
right,
just pretend I am
uh-huh,
a nosy neighbor. I walk
right.
in, like let's just script it out real quick because I
Yeah.
want them to.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So someone walks in, this is anyone. So I was like, hey, welcome in. How are you? Just talking like that. And then most people will be like, oh, I'm great. That's great. Just walking. Yeah. And then I'll say, hey, so are you from the area, or how'd you find? Did you see the signs? Because I want to know if it's the signs or if they got it from the MLS. Okay. At that point, for this scenario, they're gonna say, oh, I'm just a neighbor. I just wanted to check it out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you live in the area. How do you like it? Okay. You live in the area. How do you like it? Okay. Every question that I'm asking prompts them for a response, meaning they have to go and answer to it. Okay. And it allows them to go and elaborate. It allows them to go and express themselves to open up a little bit. Okay, so usually right then and there, they're talking about, I'm like, yeah, this is a great, I really like it. If it's a nice house, obviously, usually it is a nicer house is what you want to do. You'll say, hey, this is a great house. So do you have this model, or what kind of model do you have? And I'm just small talk at that point, right?
Right.
Once we start talking a little bit, here's an important question. Okay. And Yelena, you have a question. Said, what's the best way to ask for a neighbor's number or email if they don't want to share this info? And I'm going to show
Right.
you this trick right here. This is something that I've changed up recently, but I've done it before in the past by accident. Okay. So once they start talking, I'll ask them, oh, hey, so do you want to check out the house on your own, or do you want me to walk you around and kind of tell you a little bit? What do you think most people are going to say?
They're
Oh,
gonna
I'm just
say,
gonna
I'll walk by myself.
I'll walk by myself, right?
Yeah, yeah,
When you walk into a place, you need a pair of jeans, or you need a blouse, or whatever it is, and I mean, I don't wear blouses, obviously, but maybe you women or whatever.
yeah.
So you walk in and someone said, "Hey, can we help you? What you're looking for?" 9 times out of 10, we say, "Oh no, I'm good. I'm just browsing, right? I'm just looking." Same thing. So here's what I do. I say, "Okay, great." So they're going to say, I want to check it out. Okay, great. If you see, just over on this way is the master bedroom or the kitchen or whatever's the focal point. I just walk with them a little bit. All you have to do, and I'm going to kind of stand up a little bit with this so you guys can see this. So when they start asking that, then they say, "Oh, okay, great. So over here is where the master bedroom." You start walking, and they'll follow. Okay, just start walking, and then they'll follow. And then all you're gonna say, "This is the master bedroom. You're gonna really like it. It's a split floor plan, so all the other bedrooms are over there. I'll let you go check this out first, and just let me know if you have any questions." Okay, Yelena, everyone else, here's where it is. This is how I get the number. I'll say this in this order. Hey, would you like a flyer? That's it. Would you like a flyer? Okay. And then I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they always say yes. Okay. All I do is I pull my phone out. I'll say, okay, great. What's your number? I'll text it to you. That's it. Okay. So I'm giving you gold right here. Like, this is the stuff that I teach. Like, I'm giving you guys kind of the little cheat code. And what you're going to do is you're going to give them the MLS link to the property. Okay. And it's going to be your link because your photo is going to be on there. It's going to have your information. But what did I just do? I just got their number. Okay. Okay, great. What's your number? I'll text it to you. No one's gonna give you an issue on it. Okay. And that's the most important part. You already spoke to them. You already guided them through by me telling them to go walk with me to a bedroom. Well, that sounds bad. To to a
Best part of
kitchen
the
or
house.
wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah, another part of the house. By me telling them that, they've already listened to subliminally, they've listened to a command, right? Because I'm telling them and they're following. So when I ask them for their number, that's another command. So now they automatically start assuming that I'm an authority figure, right? So psychologically, they're going to work with me and know that I'm a subject matter expert. Okay, does that answer your question, Elena, and everyone else? Because that's a really good, very good point.
Oh yeah, that's good. And I don't think I know she asked about emails. I mean, at this point, it doesn't even really matter as long as you have something. You can always get that
Yeah,
information later. But I
yeah,
mean,
yep,
she's 9 times out of 10, even just the stuff that we do in our side in title and escrow, like unless you're in an escrow with us, I mean, nobody
yeah,
checks their emails.
yeah, yeah,
Nobody checks
yeah.
their
Right,
emails because most of them have TCs now and all those things. But I would say get the phone number and then,
100%. Yep.
you just follow up from there. What is like the follow up? At least how many times do you feel like you follow up with them after the fact when they come
Yeah,
to
that's
the
great.
house?
That's a great, great point. Elisandra says, "Do you encourage sign-in sheets?" I used to. It used to
Mm.
be very, and I had a strategy for them to do that. Um, I don't think it's necessary anymore. I don't even bring in sign-in sheets. I try to keep it as informal as possible. Like a very, I know a lot of people make a very big event with it. They bring food, snacks, waters, and that's great. I think there's a different type of open house. Michael, you know about it with the listing launch that we have. Very different open house. That's more of an eventful thing, one-time thing. That'll be another thing if you ever want that, Michael. You know, I can teach that
Yeah.
one. But this is for the purpose of you getting leads, buyers, and sellers consistently. So it takes more time. So I don't use the sign-in sheets. It keeps it more informal and it keeps it more open. They're more susceptible to go and give you their number if they know that it's not that formal. Does that make sense, Elisandra?
And I
No, I
think
don't have flyers printed out. Yep, I don't have flyers printed out. Yep, yep.
I feel like nowadays
Yep.
people kind of put false information when it comes to handwriting.
They do.
But
I
if you
do.
could get their number right there and then, I mean, there's no way
Yeah, that's a
of
great
getting
point,
out of
and
that.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you my experience because if they sign the sheet in and they're already off-putting, right? Because an agent's going to be here, right? So that's why I always say just talk to them, just build rapport, don't sell them. Just talk to them, get their number, and that's a very non-intrusive way to do it. But if you have that thing there, here's what has happened, and this is legitimately like how like they would sign in because they're closed off and they put the wrong name, wrong number, wrong email, everything, right? And then we'd walk through, we would build rapport, and then we would be great friends and everything, and they were happy. And then I'd be like, yeah, okay, great, I'll reach out and things like that. But they forgot that they put the wrong name or number on there. Okay, so then we would never be, I had never get to talk to them ever again. So as a matter of fact, I highly encourage that you don't bring flyers to them. I know that's very counterintuitive to what a lot of people will say, but there's a reason for that. We're marketing, you know, for leads. Great job. Oh, you had a question. I'm sorry. What was that?
Me?
Yeah, yeah. Right before I said that.
Oh, I don't even remember what I was gonna say, but I will say this. Like over here at Landmark, we do offer like some pretty nice open house material that we
Oh,
provide to our agents. But as far as like the flyers that we give out, I usually tell the agents like it's not really for you to have at the open house anyways. It's for you to go personally invite some of the neighbors. Like you want to give those away and then we can also give that actual flyer digitally, right? Unless you wanted
right,
to send the MLS link, like you have two options.
right,
But yeah, getting the phone number, like Isaiah was talking about, is definitely the way to go nowadays for sure.
right. Absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. You know what I do use is I use your app quite often
yes.
because when I have sellers there, and it has happened one time where they asked, well, if I sell my house, what do you think? I was like, well, you know, they want to run comps right then and there. And I have your app, you know, the landmark app, and I just kind of plug it in really quick, you know, or first time home buyer. First time home buyer is another thing because you have the buyer side and the seller side. So I do use that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Since you brought up the app, one of the cool features is whether it's on the seller net sheet or the buyer net sheet, you could run a geograph report, And so that will show some of the markets, schools, just things in the area. And I feel like you as an agent or as a market expert, being able to know exactly where things are for you to engage in more conversations and build rapport would be a great way for you to like enhance the level of higher level conversations that you have with those agents.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
you say a seller walks in, oh, you live, or a neighbor, nosy neighbor walks in, oh, you live in the neighborhood. Oh, yeah. Do you have any kids? Oh, do they go to this school right here? Like you're already
Right.
just building so much more than just like talking about houses, right? You're talking about their family and getting to know them a little bit. It may just
Yeah.
help enhance that. And so if you ever need help, anyone out there ever needs help with figuring out where that is, I'm myself or the business development team here at Landmark are more than happy to show that with you.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll tell you guys, we put Michael to work. Like we use a lot of the stuff that he has, and we're shameless about it. I do remember your question actually. The follow up. So once I
oh
get, when
yeah,
do I follow up?
yeah.
Yeah, so legitimately, literally immediately after, then once I put my final sign inside the car, I'm calling them. They won't answer, just so you know. So it's cool, but just so they can hear your voice, because you're at that point, all you're trying to do with follow up is getting them to remember you. So it's just, hey, just wanted to say I appreciate you coming by. I wanted to see if you had any feedback on the property, on that. If it's something that they like, then you can say, I really liked it, this is something we really wish, we can go and get. Then it's like, well, hey, let's do this. Okay. At that point, do your process, set up the buyer consultation, get them pre-approved, things like that. So let's do this. Why don't we just meet? Okay. What are you doing? Let's see, tomorrow, 3 or 6 o'clock, swing by the office. We'll go over that. And, however you guys, I don't know how you guys have your process with dealing with buyers and sellers. We have a very specific process on getting them pre-qualified, setting an appointment, buyer broker signed immediately, and then getting them to write an offer. But that's essentially how you would follow up with that. Yeah.
We are running out of time, so if anyone has any more questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat box. I
Yeah.
do want to ask you, um, is there any more specific strategy that you recommend as far as like a specific price for an open house to do? Maybe other types of ways to build rapport, like what's one more thing that you could give to anyone on this call that maybe could be like the best case scenario or best advice
Mhm.
for doing open houses?
You know what? I've done open houses with nothing but my phone sometimes. And it was all about just being consistent and committing to it. And I know it's very cliche where people are like commit to it. When I was frustrated in my little blue truck, crying and punching my steering wheel, I made a commitment and I said, I didn't die in the military, but if I have to die selling real estate, then so be it. Right. And that's kind of the attitude. And I know it's a very extreme attitude, but it's something that I needed in order for me to kind of kick into that gear because I was doing stuff, but just was not consistent. I was doing stuff, but just not getting the results. But that initial part for you to get leads, once that's over, it's over. It's the hardest part, I promise you, because you could take a break from real estate for a whole year, but getting back in will be very different than the very first time you got it. So there is a threshold. I will tell you, there's a threshold that you have to get through before you know that you can consistently do 3, 4 closings a month on that. So that's a great question, and I know that maybe it's not so much of a tip,
No,
but
I like it because I remember you said, or I mean, like both you and I preach to some of the newer agents. It's like if you have the opportunity to do open houses a
oh
lot,
man,
and especially if you're
yeah,
not from Arizona, like make it your office
yes,
space, and
absolutely,
you could get a lot done. You can create a lot of video. You can market yourself. Like there's a lot of things that you can do just being in an open house in general. But I think
yes.
it's a mindset thing. Not a lot of people really look at it that way. So no, that's great.
Yeah,
That's great feedback.
yeah. Oh, I
Nikki
got some great
asked,
questions here.
yeah, do you see that from Nikki?
Yep. She
Okay.
says, I'd like to ask you to define and give examples of providing people with value in follow-ups. I always hear this, but struggle with examples. Beautiful. Have a whole entire class of the follow-up process. Okay, but just here's a quick snip. Never call to say, hey, just following up. Hey, just wanted to see where you're at. Hey, still interested in selling. Hey, are you still looking to buy? Never, ever, ever do that. Okay. To give you kind of a grand scope, you're going to seem like you're doing business without them and you don't want to sell to them. You want to sell through them. So, what does that sound like? What does that look like? Okay. Here's really important. So, when I call them, just wanted to get some feedback, sounds like I'm doing my job, right, with business on that. So, let's say they don't answer, right? They don't answer, then you can do a voice message, voice text, or just a regular text and say, hey, Isaiah from the open house, just wanted to say thanks for swinging by. Just wanted to get your feedback so I can let the sellers know. And I always tell them like this, like a smiley face. And I'm like, don't be afraid to tell me if you think it's ugly. And then like a laughing face or whatever, right? And that kind of breaks it up. It helps them respond. Does that make sense? Now, following up continually after that, give them give them something. This is called the law of reciprocity, meaning if you give, naturally they're going to want to give back. Now, I'm giving you some really, really goods here. I'm just going to give you an example. Okay. Hey, just want to let you know rates dropped by 0.25% the past week. People are getting off of the fence with buying. If you know someone looking to go and buy, let me know. Unbelievable options. Now, it doesn't sound like I'm being pushy with them. I'm saying if you
Right.
know someone, meaning I really don't care about you, but what do you think? If they find out that rates are going less and they're interested, they're obviously gonna go and inquire about it. Okay, so that's essentially, and every time you find a new opportunity, a new piece of value that you can give them. Does that make sense, Nikki? And then Yelena, what if they don't pick up when you call? Do you follow up again? Yes, always. One lead over the course, one lead, meaning somebody you have one conversation with, you may not even do business with them. If you keep them in your CRM and you continually follow up, we have again a follow up process, a framework of how following up works. Um, Over the course of your career, they'll give you 7 to 8 transactions. Okay, not them alone, but the referrals that they bring with it. Because again, remember the main source of getting deals is where sphere of influence. But just meeting someone that allows you to kind of put them in your sphere eventually.
Right.
Okay, I got another one here, Andrea. I'm going to go through these Q&As. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, and guys, feel free to reach out. Follow me on Instagram, Isaiah_Melendez1. Follow me. I love helping. I help a ton of agents who aren't even part of the brokerage or my team. I love helping. And if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. I'm with a smaller brokerage. I'm struggling a lot trying to find listing agents that allow me to hold open houses. Do you have any recommendations? Yes. Put up a list of 10 vacant, do vacant, right? So once you create your list online of either the 101 or the 202, depending on where you live, the East Valley or Central Valley, once you have that vacant, okay, you're going to get 9 no's and then 1 yes. So I'm going to tell you that that's such a great question, and the expectation that the first person you call is going to be like, hey, I'll allow it. It's just not going to happen. So come into the mentality of like knowing that they're going to say no, okay? But put 10 houses that you think would be a good fit for your open house, okay? What days and week and times are best to host an open house in the West Valley? So again, I want to stay more inside the 101, but I'm gonna say like if you're maybe a Glendale area type of thing, Sunday and Saturday always best. I got burnt out doing 7 days a week, so I didn't do them Sunday. But if you can do them Sunday, do them Sunday and Saturday. Anytime, Saturday and Sunday doesn't matter. You can do it from anywhere from between 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. It's going to be great because there's not too many people who have a structured work window. Okay. So it's a lot of people during brunch or after brunch. You'll get a lot of that crowd. Um, Fridays are almost like a weekend. So I try the same thing, 11 between 11 and 5:15. If you're doing between Monday and Thursday, it's the same thing, like basically noon to 12:15. You're not going to get as many people, but I will tell you this: the little people that you do get from Monday through Thursday, they're going to be high quality leads. Because imagine on a Monday morning when you're struggling, to get your day going, you're waiting to go back home, and then on a Monday morning, somebody has the energy to stop their car, get out, and do that. Does that make sense? Same thing with rainy days. I love doing them on rainy days. Less people, super high quality leads. Yep. All right. I think that's it.
I'm
Anyone
gonna
else? Does it make sense? Any other questions? Go ahead.
we're gonna close, but I mean, if there's another question that comes up, great. Last question is, can you give us like one story or success from an open house experience that just continues to motivate you to keep doing them?
Oh man, you know what? I would say I have so many stories with that. I can give you a story about when I was younger. I mean, I'm going to give you a story about one of the last ones I did just recently, just to prove a point to one of the classes. I did an open house. Okay, I did this open house. I had 13 people come in. Okay, and this was just a few months ago. I had 13 people come in. I had 5 people who are ready to buy, 3 of them who are, for some reason, already pre-qualified. That's so unusual. I didn't usually get that. I got one listing from it within less than a month from there. She listed her house. We sold it for 497, 498.5. Okay, and then she bought for 835. Okay, so that alone from one open house. And that's not even remotely close to the greatest stories that I have from open houses. If you're consistent and if you do them exactly how I'm telling you, you will get results like that all the time. Yesterday, I told you about this. Yesterday, one of my students did an open house exactly how I told her. She has 4 buyers from it, 4 buyers from the open house. Okay, so they work. They're a little bit tougher, but I'll tell you what, they're well worth it.
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
no,
I love it.
that's great. I mean, I think just this call alone just hopefully motivates someone out there to like, hey, I got to get back to the basics. And these are things that I think now with social media nowadays, there's so many coaches and like programs that you can go and purchase. But like, man, if you just stuck to the basics, you learn from, high-end, knowledgeable people like Isaiah, like it could be like your what do they call it? Your value proposition, right? Like open houses could be like your go-to thing to generate leads. And so Isaiah, thank you so much, man. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
No,
No,
that's
that's
it. I
it. I
appreciate you
appreciate you
guys.
guys.
Oh, I've
Oh,
got
I've
some
got some
people over
people over
here.
here.
But no,
But no,
I
that's
appreciate you
you
guys.
guys.
Again,
Again,
if you
if
guys,
you guys,
if you
if
guys
you
have
guys
any
have any
questions,
questions,
follow me on
follow me on
Instagram,
Instagram,
DM me,
DM me,
and then
and then
I'll be
I'll be
more than
happy to
happy
help
to
you
help you
guys.
guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Isaiah. I'm going to just go through these slides real quick. Thank you so much once again. So for our upcoming events that we got going on this week, actually tomorrow, we're doing a content house. So anyone that wants to register, make sure you do that today and do it immediately because we got to figure out how much food and beverages we'll have. But we're going to have a media company there. They're going to help you create a video so that way you can post it on Instagram. And then if you ever need help with running some ads and stuff like that, we're always more than happy to help. The goal is to help you find a buyer for a listing, right? And so we want to help put that together. We did this a few months ago. I mean, there was like 40 agents that came. I don't know if it'll be that big, but these things do work. And so we want to personally invite you to that tomorrow. Uh, Upcoming CE credit classes. We got this one on Tuesday, September 23rd. On general finance for realtors. This will be at our Arrowhead office over here on 79th in uh, Union and Bell. We're like right next to the Arrowhead Mall, if you know where that is. And then we have upcoming next week. Actually, Isaiah, I would love for you to attend this one. This is a power panel that we're hosting over at the Henry in Arcadia. And so this is actually an exclusive invite only for agents, but there are some people that haven't registered yet. So if you're on this call, I'm personally inviting you to this. Make sure you reach out to myself or your business development manager so you can get the access to the link. That's why I have a smiley face on the QR code, because it is a exclusive invite. And then we have another CE credit class coming up on the 30th of near the end of the month, again over here at our atrium, at our Arrowhead office. Reach out to myself or your BDM for more details. And then, sorry, I had a call come in. Where are we? Am I still sharing my screen? I am. And then shout out to our wonderful sales team over here at Landmark. I mean, without our team, I don't know where we would be at. We put a lot of time and effort into not only pouring back into the agents, but also just making sure that the business here at Landmark goes round. Everyone here provides great value, resources, and tools to our agent partners and lender partners. And so just a big shout out to everyone that makes things go around here at Landmark. And then send us your next escrow. We would really love the opportunity if you haven't given us a shot here at Landmark. Our mission is to just really deliver with intention, integrity, and excellence throughout the escrow process. Remember, we are an escrow and title company first, and we do really pride ourselves on service and making sure that you and your clients are taken care of. And then all the other, all the other stuff like the marketing and tools are just the icing on the cake. But just remember that we are your dedicated closing team, and we really appreciate you guys being on the call today. All right. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next week.